So Ebrahim Raisi, a 60-year-old hardline cleric, was just selected to be Iran's new president. And I think there are three main takeaways here. Number one is that this really was a selection, not an election, and that the vote that counted most was not the vote of the Iranian people, but the vote of Iran's supreme leader, 82-year-old Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who views in Ebrahim Raisi his potential successor. Takeaway number two is that I think for many Iranians, this selection was a reminder that they're living in a system which really can't be reformed via the ballot box. It's too inflexible to reform, but it's also too brutal to collapse. And I think for many Iranians, they see themselves living on a street which is dead-ended in both directions. It can't reform, nor can it collapse. And for that reason, for many young Iranians in particular, the answer is immigration, to try to go make their lives outside the country. Takeaway number three is that given Ebrahim Raisi's past complicity in terrible human rights abuses, it's going to make it much more difficult for countries that want to engage Iran economically, whether those are countries in the European Union or in Asia, to justify their commercial relations with Iran. And at the same time, it's going to make it easier for Iran's adversaries, whether that's governments in Israel or Saudi Arabia, or even the Republican Party in the United States, to try to demonize and isolate Iran, given Raisi's dark background. So I'd say in sum that the selection of Ebrahim Raisi was in many ways a defeat for the people of Iran, but in many ways a victory for the adversaries of Iran. So I think Raisi's selection has two important implications for the United States. Number one, for the Biden administration, there's now a heightened sense of urgency to try to revive the Iran nuclear deal before August 8th, when Raisi's team is inaugurated. It's true, the Supreme Leader and the Revolutionary Guards will continue to call the shots in Iran, but there is a fear that Raisi could bring to power a new group of inexperienced, more inflexible negotiators, which could complicate life for the Biden administration. Second, I think it's going to make it that much more difficult for the Biden administration to try to negotiate a follow-on nuclear deal with Iran, which also addresses Iran's regional ambitions and its missile program. So I think in sum, for the United States, the selection of Ebrahim Raisi is not fatal to the nuclear deal, but it certainly complicates the nuclear deal's revival.